Why did my life feel like a struggle? Because I was living in a geometric mismatch. Today, I am giving you the ancient Hermetic blueprint, how I am turning my jagged life into a masterpiece of divine symmetry. If you want an unbreakable mind and an unshaken spirit, you have to learn how to do one thing the world says is impossible. Most people spend their lives trapped inside a square. A life of rigid edges, sharp anxiety, and the crushing weight of physical limitations. They want a circle, peace, infinite potential, and total freedom. But they think the two can never meet. They've been told that squaring the circle is a mathematical impossibility. And in the physical world it is, but in the realm of your mind, it is the ultimate symbol of divine realization. It is the union of heaven and earth, the finite and the infinite. We are squaring the circle. Let's begin. The square represents your current reality, your bills, your physical body, your job, and the limitations of the material world. It's four-sided, representing the four elements: earth, air, fire, and water. It's solid but is static. The circle is your spirit, is that voice inside you that knows you were meant for more. It is the all, the infinite, the above. Most people are either too square, lost in the grind, cynical and stressed, or too circular, lost in the spiritual with no grounded results. Hermes Trismegistus, the Thrice-Great, didn't teach us to choose one, he taught us to fuse them. This is a great work. When you square the circle, you are bringing the power of the infinite into the structure of the finite. You aren't just dreaming of a better life, you are engineering it. The circle represents the monad, the infinite, the spirit, and the heavens. It has no beginning and no end. It is the above. The square represents the quaternary, the four elements, the physical body, and the material world. It is the below. To square the circle is to bring the divine spirit into perfect manifestation within the physical body. It is the act of making the spiritual tangible and the tangible spiritual. To master this, we look to the emerald tablet. That which is below is like that which is above. This isn't just a poem, it's a functional law of reality. If the circle, your internal mind, is chaotic, your square, your external life, will reflect that. Ancient Hermetists weren't just philosophers, they were the original life designers. They understood that matter is the densest form of thought. To square the circle, you must realize that the square of your life is actually made of the same mental substance as the circle. If you feel trapped by your circumstances, you are viewing the square as below and the circle as above, as if they are separated by a wall. But the Hermetic secret is that the wall is permeable. How do we actually use the Kybalion to achieve this? We use the three pillars of the unshaken spirit. Everything you see is a mental image in the mind of the all. If you want to change the square, your reality, you must first change the mental blueprint, the circle. Most people try to change the square by hitting it with a hammer, hard work, force, struggle. The Hermetist changes the square by changing the mind. The circle and the square are not opposites, they are two poles of the same thing. Anxiety and peace are just different degrees of the same vibration. To square the circle is to use the sliding scale of your mind to move from the rigid edges of fear to the smooth curves of power. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. The square vibrates at a lower, denser frequency. The circle vibrates at a higher frequency. Squaring the circle is the process of raising the vibration of your reality until your physical life matches your highest mental vision. In alchemy, this is often depicted as a man and a woman within a circle, inside a square, inside a triangle, inside a larger circle. This is the recipe for the Philosopher's Stone. If we look at the 3 stages of the work, first, in the blackness, called Nigredo, we are breaking down the square, realizing our rigid beliefs and physical limitations are not the end. Then during the albedo whiteness, we are purifying the mind so it can reflect the circle. And at the end, at the rubedo redness, it is the final union, it is the spirit is fixed into the body, and you are no longer just study the divine, you embody it. When you square the circle, you are no longer a victim of the square circumstance, you become the architect, using the infinite potential of the circle to reshape your world. You've seen this symbol in my previous videos, the Rebis, the two-headed being standing on a dragon. Notice what the Rebis is holding, a compass and a square. This is the cheat code for human wholeness. The compass draws the circle, spirit, intuition. The square draws the square, reason, physicality. To be a complete human, you must hold both. If you are all reason, you are a robot. If you are all intuition, you are a drifter. The unbreakable mind is formed when you can use the compass to dream big and the square to execute with discipline. This is how you fix the volatile spirit and volatilize the fixed matter. So how do you square the circle in 2026? With integration, don't ignore your physical needs, for spiritual escapism, and don't lose your soul in the material grind. And by finding the middle way, it's about finding the area where they overlap. It's practicing mindfulness while doing your taxes, it's finding sacred in the mundane. The ancient masters knew that the math was impossible because the human intellect alone cannot bridge the gap between the finite and the infinite. It requires a shift in consciousness. It requires gnosis. Here is an exercise for an unbreakable mind, which you can do anywhere if you have quiet 5 minutes. For example, I do it on the train during commute to the office. Identify your square. Think about one area of your life that feels rigid, stuck, or sharp-edged. For example, your finances or a toxic relationship. Then apply the circle. Close your eyes and visualize the square problem. Now, mentally draw a golden circle around it. This represents the law of mentalism, the reminder that this problem exists within your mind and you are the master of that mind. And finally, the transmutation command, say to yourself, I am the center point, I fix the volatile, I free the fixed. By doing this, you are literally training your brain to square the circle. You are merging your highest self with your daily grind. The world wants you to stay in the square. It wants you predictable, stressed, and easy to manage. But you have the cheat code now. Hermes Trismegistus didn't leave these tablets for us to worship them, he left them for us to use them. Squaring the circle is the great work. It is a reminder that you are a bridge. You are the point where the infinite meets the earth. As the Kybalion reminds us, the lips of wisdom are closed except to the ears of understanding. Perhaps the reason that ancient gave us an impossible math problem was to force us to look beyond the mind and into the soul. If you are ready to stop being a victim of the square and start designing a life of wholeness, subscribe and join me. And remember, as above, so below. I will see you in the next one.